Hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Spike, and in today's video we're going to play some Project Cars 2 for the first time on the channel, and we're going to talk a bit about the career mode trailer that dropped for Project Motor Racing yesterday, and that's, if you weren't aware, is a spiritual successor to Project Cars 2 that's going to be dropping on the 25th of November, and I'm really excited about it. It's a game that I've covered a bit on the channel before already, and I wanted to give some of my thoughts based on the career mode trailer that dropped yesterday. So we've got ourselves a multi-class race here in Project Cars 2 set up, and we're going to drive that and talk about some of the stuff that was covered yesterday. So without further ado, let's hit the track. If you're new to the channel, then do consider subscribing. Any support is greatly appreciated. We're going to be driving here in the GT4 class here. We've got, I think, GT1s, 3s, 4s and 5s, and we've got a Porsche Cayman here to go at it in the GT4 class. There's only 7 cars in the GT4 class, so we'll see what we can do here. It's Hockenheimring. We've got 5 laps to navigate, and I just want to put a disclaimer in there. Project Cars 2 isn't a sim that I played a massive amount of, so I'm going to be a bit naff, but I'm sure we'll all get over it. The point of this video is really to talk about Project Motor Racing and some of the stuff that's been discussed lately or released by the devs in regards to its single player offerings. So like I say, it's being released on the 25th of November on Xbox Series XS, PlayStation 5 and PC, and for the first time in what feels like forever, console players aren't being left behind by a sim racing title. I think console players, and I say this as primarily a console sim racer, I think with Le Mans Ultimate, Assetto Corsa Evo, and I guess the nature of their releases, the alpha builds that aren't accessible to console players, it does kind of make us feel a bit left behind and a bit out of the loop in terms of current sim racing content. And I like the idea of there just being a full release across all platforms, so that we don't have that feeling of being left behind, because either we get the game late or we don't get it at all. It feels a bit unfair, but I guess that's just me as a console player complaining or whining. And I think the main thing I wanted to talk about really was the in-game economy of Project Motor Racing's career, because it's looking like it's all going to be based around securing sponsorship deals. And I think that's a really interesting and unique take on sim racing, or sim racing career mode. You know, managing finances, the risk and reward of fiscal sponsorship decisions, making sure you choose sponsorships with targets that you can realistically meet. And when I say targets, I mean, you know, race targets, championship targets. I think a realistic career mode or an immersive career mode isn't always about screaming through the opposition and winning championships and races, but it's about finding kind of realistic goals, and you know, sometimes fighting in the midfield or nearer the back of the pack. And you see that in, I guess you could use F1 as an example. Obviously you've got teams like Red Bull, McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari, but maybe not so much this season, fighting at the front of the field, but there's lots of competition in the midfield for championship places, and each championship place, you know, has sponsorship funding on the line, which would roll into car development for the next season. And I think that is something that is kind of missed in current sim racing career modes. The idea that you actually have to meet sponsorship targets and secure sponsorship funding to afford drives, to finance campaigns in championships. And it looks like Project Motor Racing is going to have fees based on travel, race entry requirements, damage costs, everything that you would, I guess all the things that you'd think you'd have to cover cost wise when it comes to racing. Just trying to focus as I challenge this Cayman ahead of me for position. We're currently in P21. Let's see if we can get past this Cayman. We're 2 laps in. We just started our 3rd lap, so keep pushing. It's feeling quite twitchy, this car, compared to the ACC equivalent that I drove last night, so trying to adjust my driving style accordingly. So yeah, it's interesting that they're going for a kind of a career revolving around an economy, an in-world economy, and I really like the idea of that, the risk and reward, the gambling, the sponsorship deals, and the goals that come with those that aren't always about securing race wins. I think that's a unique and interesting take that we haven't really seen in sim racing. So yeah, I'm excited for that component. As maybe a less competitive sim racer, it does, to me, an immersive, I should say, career mode does carry value and weight, and I really hope they get it right with Project Motor Racing. And it looks to me like they're putting a lot of thought into their championship selection. And again, the trailer, showed some of the championship options that they are having on offer across different car classes, and they are putting thought into, car classes, locations when it comes to putting together championships. So yeah, it's sounding promising from a single player point of view. I think one of the other things I noticed in that trailer was the base of operations. So when you start your career, you're going to be asked to select a base of operations, and I think the choices are Europe, Asia and America. And based on your financial standing in your career mode, you're going to be able to race based on your ability to afford travel. So for example, if you are a European based team or European based driver, you're going to want to start your career racing in European championships, and then as your career progresses and your sponsorship deals and your racing kitty add up, you're then going to be able to travel further afield. And it's that idea of risking a lot of money going for say an Asian championship based out of Europe and all the travel costs involved with that, the risk of entering that and the entry fee and the travel, with the potential to crash out and not see a return on that, and that then having an ongoing impact on your racing kitty. I think that is the kind of the gameplay loop that they're aiming to get in that career mode, which is, yeah, I think I'm excited for it. It's going to be good. So the base of operations, and then there's also a couple of different jumping off points for the career mode, and I guess those will be different kind of financial positions that you start your career in. So you've got the journeyman driver, which I guess is starting from the bottom and working your way up through racing classes, and then you've got the professional driver, which I guess is, I don't know, maybe starting in GT4s or GT3s, and maybe working up a decent financial backing to maybe push into more expansive races and tours or endurance races. And then you've got the global operator, which I guess, and again this is speculation because the trailer didn't elaborate too much, I guess the global operator is starting in a financially sturdy position and being able to try a lot of things quite easily from the off. We're just starting our final lap here and still trying to catch this blue and white Porsche Cayman in front here at Hockenheim. One last thing that has been covered is the hardcore mode setting, which basically locks the assists, I believe anyway, locks the assists and inhibits your ability to restart the race. So again, if a career mode is based on jeopardy and is based on making careful decisions when it comes to the actual real-time racing, the going for a gap, the damage cost that you'd have to pay if you get that judgment call wrong, with a hardcore mode it inhibits your ability to restart the race. So you're going to be locked in to your race. Once you start it, you can't go back, and if you make a mistake that inhibits you financially or maybe stops you getting a payout from a sponsorship deal, then you're going to feel that impact in your kitty, and that's going to change the trajectory or reduce the trajectory of your overall career. And I like the idea that you can choose that and lock in. I think something that I struggle with in sim racing titles is the ability to kind of restart races or rewind or reset to track. I think if you make a mistake, you've got to own that mistake. And I think it's really, you know, having that safety net affects the actual decisions you make when you're driving. It's a jeopardy sport, and I think with those safety nets in place, you lose that sense of jeopardy. And I'm glad that there's a way you can remove it, or there's going to be a way you can remove it as we come across the finish line. Don't know what we are in class, 4th in class. We didn't really challenge, but we were too busy gassing about Project Motor Racing. So yeah, that's just some of my thoughts. I'm going to just check my notes and make sure that I've not really forgotten anything. I guess we've got some info regarding circuits. Zold has been confirmed, Kyle Army. There's an unlicensed version of Silverstone, Northampton they're calling it. And again, I don't mind fictional or unlicensed circuits as long as they're fun to drive around. I couldn't give a shit what they are as long as they're fun to drive around. I'm more interested in licensed car fields than I am circuits, although it would be nice to see the sort of the staples included. Spa, basically. I'd like to see Hockenheim Ring. I'd like to see the Nürburg GP circuit, and maybe the Nordschleife, if that's not too much to ask. Maybe Laguna Seca as well. But we'll see what drops. I'm more interested in the car fields, and that is something that I've discussed in the previous video. It's an area of focus for them, creating realistic championships. And again, as I said earlier, it looks like they are putting thought and effort into creating immersive and convincing championships for single player. So yeah, it's exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to it. I'm interested to hear your thoughts, so leave your comments down below. If you've enjoyed the video, then do give it a thumbs up, help me along my way. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I shall see you in the next one.